NFC South, let's start with the Bucs. They've won the division now 4 straight years, 2 with Brady at quarterback, 2 with Baker Mayfield at quarterback over these last couple of years. As I've said, over these last few weeks here, the Bucs are feeling like their retention, I think, has elevated their status in my eyes. And so I'm contradictory here, right? I'm like, oh, the Packers didn't do anything shiny or flashy. It's like, well, the Bucs haven't really either, but they've just had consistent retention. But we're skewed also by the fact that they're playing in the South. And so the South has been one of the weaker divisions. Their over-under is 9.5. What are your thoughts on the Bucs here?
Yeah, I mean, the Bucs had, I think, a really solid offseason. It wasn't necessarily spectacular because it was about retaining their players, but they did a really good job of that, getting those guys back in the building. A big question mark, I think, is Chris Godwin's recovery, what that's going to look like. Nasty injury for him again. But they gave him a lot of money, and they weren't the only team bidding. The Patriots were willing to give Godwin a lot of money. So that kind of suggests that the recovery's on track and that they're not massively concerned about him just, falling off a cliff, not being the same guy. And even if they are, they mitigated against that. They insulated themselves against that with Emeka Egbuka in the first round, right? A guy that could easily step into Godwin's role and pick that up if he needed to right away. Sneaky, late round addition of Tez Johnson as well for some added, oomph to that offense. I like the Bucs. I like, particularly on offense, I really like the direction they're pointed in.
Schedule-wise for the Bucs, so over the last couple of years with Baker as quarterback, remember they hit a stretch at, weren't they 2-7 a couple of years ago? Then they hit a run. Last year, they were under 500. Then they hit a run. On paper right now, the schedule looks like that could be something that happens again. They start at Atlanta. That's a challenge. They lost to the Falcons twice last year. Then they're at Houston, play the Jets, but then they have the Eagles at home. I know they beat the Eagles last year, but at Atlanta, at Houston, Philadelphia in week 4, at Seattle, San Francisco, at Detroit. And so their first 7 weeks, there's a lot of potential losses in there for the Bucs. And then they hit a stretch of they're better than the Saints. They're probably better than the Patriots. They have a tough game against Buffalo and the Rams. And then I think they're probably favored week 13 through the end of the season. So you almost might see a similar flow where they're sitting here at 4-4, 5-5, and then reel off 5 straight. And before you know it, Bucs are 10-5 playing for the division over the last couple of weeks of the season.
Yeah, Bills and Rams are both on the road as well, which are tough games for them.
That's it. But it's like it's tough early, some easier games, and then those 2 tough ones in the middle, and then it eases again. Assuming we'll see what happens with the Panthers. We'll talk about them in a minute. They also have that weird. I hate this every year, but they don't play the Panthers until week 16. And they do the week 16 and week 18 games with the Panthers. I can't stand playing the division team 2 out of 3 weeks, especially week 16 and 18. I just hate that. But we'll see what happens. Like the Panthers could be really good by then as well.
Yeah.
But it's really tough to predict, injuries and what a team's going to be at the end of the season.
All right, that's enough of that, Steve. Over 50% of the people listening to this are not subscribed right now. So click that button and then we can get back to whatever it is Steve's telling you about. That's the fascinating thing about that dynamic is, preseason, a lot of this is based off, it's effectively how good was the team a year ago, right? So a huge part of this is chalking up a couple of wins against a team that you're not even going to, like, they might be very clear that team is a completely different prospect late in the year than people thought they were when they were setting these projections. And you're not even going to see that coming until week 16 when they face them twice in the last couple of weeks. Do you think that Desmond Watson's roster spot depends on whether or not the tush push is banned in the next couple of months?
Maybe week 4. He's got to make it to week 4 for the Eagles. Yeah.
I'm also curious. He's already slimming down, right? He's already losing the weight. I'm curious what the target number is. 464 pounds. He's already down to 430 or something. What are they aiming at?
He came into college over 400. So this has happened historically. A guy comes in with a crazy amount of weight and he drops 50 pounds in college or whatever it is. Watson went the other way. So he came in over 400, then went up to 464. I think he was around 410 right off the bat. They're probably aiming for 4 because I don't think he's going to carry. He would look like those offensive linemen that dropped 200 pounds if he was like 350. But I don't think he could drop that much. I bet they're aiming for about 400 pounds.
But I think he could. I mean, he's just, there's no way he should be anywhere near 460. Like, he's so over the top heavy. And like Renner was talking about, like, Renner would love him at 350. Renner was talking about throwing him on a Ozempic and just having him drop 100 pounds and then seeing what we've got to work with. Like, maybe that's a bit over the top, but I think he's already lost like 30 or 40 pounds or something. If you can lose it that easily, I think we should be looking for a number that begins with a 3. I don't think your starting number should be a 4. So, but I'm curious what the target number is for him if he's already dropped like 30 or 40 pounds.
Is this going to affect your win total for the Bucs?
Yeah, definitely.
So if tush push is not banned, Watson's going to slow that thing down.
Watson, so Vea right up the middle, run against that.
That's what I mean. They get the win in week 4. I'll take the over on the Bucs here. Cynthia goes slightly over at 9.7. Where would you go here?
I mean, I feel like they're a double-digit win team as well. All right. This is the last over I'm going before I find some unders.
Yeah, agreed. Everybody else is under. Have to.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.